Hi, my name is Anna Carpenter, and I would like to talk to you about developing and implementing a policy on streamlining a process for patient complaints. Reeder, Gillespie, and Roberts note that by analyzing patient complaints, it can help determine any issues with patient safety. They go on to say that in order to make appropriate analysis, there needs to be a streamlined process for these complaints. According to the University of Iowa, the national benchmark is 73% of patients giving a rating of 9 or 10, whereas the University of Iowa only has 68%. This current underperformance may not be directly affecting patient care, but it may be affecting referrals and patient satisfaction. If current patients do not feel like the hospital is performing on where it is supposed to be, they may be less likely to recommend this hospital to others, which therefore could drive down business. If an attempt at changes are not made, then business could slowly drop, which means a decrease in income. If business continues to drop, it could ultimately mean the hospital would not be able to survive without the income. Prakash believes that a hospital should have a good avenue for receiving patient complaints. He goes on to say that the Joint Commission manual shows there are 4 things that a hospital should do to help streamline this process. These things are having a process for patients to give their complaints, allowing patients to know they have the right to make complaints, and let them know the process for it. The hospital acknowledge the complaint, take corrective measures, and not penalize the patient. And lastly, hospital staff must provide documentation of the complaint and how they responded to that complaint. Prakash also identifies patient complaints as relationship controversy, clinical problems, and management issues. In evaluating the complaints, it may be found that some of them are not fixable, whereas others may have a simple solution. Reeder, Gillespie, and Roberts note that by analyzing patient complaints, it can help determine any issues with patient safety. They go on to say that in order to make appropriate analysis, there needs to be a streamlined process for these complaints. All hospitals are focused on patient safety, and any safety issues that arise need to be addressed immediately. Having a streamlined process can help determine any trends that may be forming and can help make a better plan to fix these issues. The proposed change of streamlining a process for patient complaints is an idea to keep care patient-centered. It will also work on patient satisfaction. The ECRI Institute believes that monitoring trends by tracking the data of patient complaints and grievances can highlight systems issues or individual problems and help with opportunities and quality improvement. The policy proposal will include how to make patients aware of the process, letting them know they have the right to make a complaint, the process to give their complaints, and how to handle the complaints in the moment. Ultimately, for patient satisfaction, the brochure will help direct the patients on the right path. By streamlining this process, it will also help the whole process run smoother and have quicker resolutions. The ECRI Institute goes on to say that the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services provides outlines on how grievances should be handled for patients receiving this type of funding, but they can also be used for any type of patient. The overall goal of streamlining patient complaints is to help make the hospital a better place, safer environment, and allow the patients to receive the best care possible. When a patient visits a clinic or is admitted to the hospital, they will receive a brochure explaining their various rights as a patient. This brochure will have a dedicated section on their right to file complaints, either verbally or formally, how to make the complaint, including who to contact with contact information, and let them know they have the right to a fair resolution if applicable. The quality and safety team will be the initial contact for patient complaints. From there, depending on the nature of the complaint, it may need to move to the chief nursing officer, human resources, or the chief executive officer. The process will be that the patient can either make a verbal or written complaint. The patient can choose on whether to speak with someone directly on the unit or choose to speak to the quality and safety team. If the patient speaks with someone on the unit, that person still needs to provide documentation to the quality and safety team and also provide the resolution if there was one. Once a complaint is received, a resolution will start to form as soon as possible. The quality and safety team determine, based on the issue, the key players that need to be involved. They will also reiterate to the patient that their complaint is taken seriously, and they will provide feedback in a timely fashion if it is not immediate. Immediate action will always be taken on issues in regards to patient, visitor, or staff safety. These brochures will be written in the most common languages seen at the hospital, and for patients who speak other languages, a form of interpretation will be used so that they receive the same information. These brochures will also be written in a lower grade level verbiage to ensure the majority of patients, regardless of education, are able to fully understand the content. In an ideal state, not much should change for the stakeholders other than becoming more involved with the process of complaints and following up on issues that need addressed, whether that be directly or through delegation. The ECRI Institute believes that patient complaints are important from a corporate point of view because these complaints may shed light to larger systems issues. Currently, the Chief Nursing Officer makes scheduled rounds all over the hospital to see how things are going on various units. After viewing the complaints and following up on them, it may be beneficial for the Chief Nursing Officer to change the time that the rounds are made. For instance, if multiple patients have filed complaints over the noise level during a certain time of the day and/or night, it would be pertinent for the CNO to go onto the units during these times so she is able to see the noise level firsthand. It can also be beneficial to frontline staff to see the CNO personally following up on the complaint and trying to come up with a resolution. Initially, the workload will increase for the quality and safety team, but over time, once trends are noticed and resolutions are made, the thought is that the workload in theory should decrease. Working conditions can be improved by everyone from the corporate level to the frontline staff working together to come up with resolutions. If the frontline staff see corporate staff more often to often help alleviate issues, it may make them feel as though things are changing for the better. If corporate staff are on the floor visually seeing issues and are wanting to make changes, the frontline staff will be more receptive to these changes. Reviewing the trends of patient complaints should show areas that are in great need for improvement. By addressing patient complaints in a timely fashion and helping to come up with resolutions, the hospital will receive better patient satisfaction scores. Potential patients will read reviews the hospital has received, and the more negative comments, the less likely patients will be to choose this hospital for their care. The more patients that are steered away, the less revenue the hospital will generate, whereas satisfied patients will help bring in more patients, which in turn drives up the revenue. If staff understand what some of the patient dissatisfiers are, they can help alleviate the problems and make not only a safer environment for the patients, but also a better work environment for the staff. Upper administration has the potential to be respected more if they are directly dealing with patient complaints and trying to make things better themselves and not just passing the buck on to others. Upper administration may also be able to view some of the issues firsthand, which can put things into perspective for them. The role of the stakeholders in implementing the policy will be big, as they will be a big part of the resolution process. The quality and safety team will be the ones receiving the majority of initial reports. They will follow the SBAR, which is Situation, Background, Assessment, Recommendation, and they will document the complaint. From here, the quality and safety team will decide where the complaint needs to go. The complaint may be minor to where they can delegate someone on the unit to address the issue, or it may be more major and need to go to upper administration. With the cooperation of the stakeholders, the expectation will be that everyone can work together to get a good flow of how the process will work to make it successful. A very specific role for the Chief Nursing Officer and other higher administration will be to give full support and implementation and to also address issues in a timely fashion. Frontline staff will respect this promptness and will also be more willing to bring up issues if they feel like they are being heard. The quality and safety team will be expected to form 2 team leads, with one being the main and another one a backup, that will be the initial contacts. Streamlining into a small set of people at first will help get the process started so that there is a standard way complaints are being handled. It will be crucial for all team members to work together to get this implementation to start off smoothly. All stakeholders involved will need to be optimistic and go into implementation with a positive thought process. Collaborating together will help get ideas from different aspects of the healthcare organization and will create a good balance. Morley and Cashel note that having a multifaceted team can help the team be more effective, efficient, and innovative. The Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality believes that if you employ a full range of stakeholders in the early phases, that the goals are more achievable in having timely, relevant, and triable results, which in turn assures that the initiative will be successful. All in all, many patients may be dissatisfied with their care but may not speak up in the moment due to either not knowing the process, fear of retaliation, or thoughts that nothing will change by their complaints. Providing the patients with a brochure explaining that they have the right to make a complaint and giving them not only the process but the contact information will help encourage the patients to speak up to help improve patient safety. By tracking the trends of like complaints, it may be easier to come up with a plan for improvement. The ECRI Institute believes that viewing complaints from a patient's viewpoint is integral in making things better. Having an open mind and listening to the patients to help make the hospital a safer place will be beneficial to the hospital not only in the short term, but also in the long run. Now would be a good time to ask any questions if anybody has any. Thank you for your time.